Hey guys, my name's Sarah Fleming. I'm with the Practical Strength Group. May 16th, 17th, and 18th we're putting on a strength sports clinic and a Highlander competition in Geneseo, New York. And what I would like to talk to you right now is about the Highlander competition. What does that consist of? And we'd like to talk about some ways that you might want to prepare for it if you're considering doing it. I would absolutely encourage all of you to try it out. It's a lot of fun, and it's a good way to see how you can kind of express your strength in different ways. A Highlander is basically a hybrid competition between strongman and Highland games. But typically we like to choose events that are a little bit less technically challenging, lighter weights on the throws, and then for the strongman events we want to do stuff that's a little bit lighter in weight and also a little bit less technically challenging so that you can have a good chance of doing well at the entire competition. So for the event on Sunday, May 18th, we're going to have 6 events. There's going to be 3 Highland Games throws and there's going to be 3 strongman events. Friday, May 16th, we're going to have a throwing clinic from 5 to 8 p.m. At Bethany's gym. And during that time we'd like to work with the beginners who have never thrown before or have just started and just kind of want to make sure their technique is good enough that they can feel good about it for the competition. Also, we'll have some of the implements there for the strongman portion so they can kind of get an idea as to what they're going to be working with. So to start off, the 3 throws that we're going to be doing, we're going to do weight over bar, weight for distance, and a heavy stone throw. Weight over bar is exactly what it sounds like. You have a bar overhead and you're going to be throwing the weight and hopefully clearing the bar. You get 3 attempts at each height and basically the bar just keeps rising. If you don't get the height on your 3 attempts, you're out. Last man standing or woman is the winner. And for that event we use this implement. This is a 28-pound weight. Men will throw 42. This is the women's weight, and I got these from Mike Landrich. He does some really good work for a good price, and I haven't managed to break them, and I've had them over a year, so they're pretty good. But if you don't have this equipment, you can just use a kettlebell. You can chain some weights together. You don't have to be super high tech to get some practice in. The second event is weight for distance, and it's a similar weight to that one, only the chain's a little bit longer. I believe the height from bottom to top is typically about 18 inches. Women throw 14 pounds, men throw 28 pounds, and again, you can use a kettlebell, you can put a chain on a kettlebell, you can chain some weights together. This throw is typically done rotationally, kind of like a discus, and more advanced throwers tend to turn twice in the trig. Some I've seen even turn 3 times. But we're going to go over a little bit of that technique and how to throw it if you're really not good at turning with heavy weights on chains. And lastly, we have the stone throw. In the Highland Games, there's 2 stone throws. One's called Braemar, which is basically done from a standing position. And then there's the open stone, which you can throw in whatever way you want to. You can throw it like a shot put rotationally or glide. The only rule is that you have to throw it with one hand and not fall over the toe board. The weights for this, however, we're going to use heavier weights like we'd use for a Braemar, but we're going to just say, again, we're going to treat it like an open stone. If you want to rotate or spin or glide, that's up to you. If you just want to stand and chuck it, that's fine too. The weights for the women is going to be 13 to 15 pounds. This stone's about 12 pounds, so it might be slightly bigger, but we don't really have good rocks for throwing in North Carolina, so that might be better. The men, probably somewhere around 20 pounds. This is a 17-pound stone, just to kind of give you an idea of size. And again, I'm hoping Bethany has better stones up at her place. And then we're going to get to the strongman events. We've basically got 3 timed events, and they're all just, everybody gets 1 chance at them. The first one is a stone carry, and here I've got an atlas stone, but we're actually going to be using natural stones. The women are going to be probably around 75 to 100 pounds. The men probably around 150 to 175, maybe a little heavier. And basically you're just going to pick it up and see how far you can carry it in a minute. If you drop it, you can pick it back up and keep going. But basically you have 1 minute to get it as far as you can. Picking it up is the tricky part, so we're going to go over that a little bit in another section of the video. The other two events are going to be using an axle and maybe a log, just for the men. We're going to have an axle press for reps, and this is an overhead event. And the reason I have these is that these are fat grips. This is about the width of an axle. It's like a regular barbell, only it's a lot fatter, so it's harder to pick up. And for the axle press for reps, you're going to pick up the axle, clean it, whatever you want to do, and then you're going to try and get as many reps overhead in a minute. You can press it, you can jerk it, you can push press it. It doesn't matter. The only thing that's important is that this is not a lockout. This is a lockout. So if you're going to jerk it, you have to come to full lockout before the rep counts. We may get a log for men. For women, the weight on this will be about 85 pounds. For men, probably somewhere around 150. And then lastly, we're going to do a deadlift for reps, again with an axle. And again, with the thicker grip, it's going to be harder to hold on to. It's going to be harder to pick up. So for women, it's going to be 185 pounds. For men, 315. And basically, we're just going to see how many repetitions you can get in a minute. So probably the better way to train for that, if you don't have fat grips, is just really work on your deadlift. Maybe try a little bit heavier. You're probably going to want to use mixed grip. Anything you can to enhance your grip and diminish fatigue on that particular event.